you, Mike?
I'm very well, Megan. Thanks very much.
It's great to have you. We have Mike who's going to talk to us today about GM, and I'm the mayor of Nashville. And just to give you a little bit of context right now, Nashville is a place that is growing and on fire, and one of the things that we're really struggling with is transportation, getting those folks around our great city. So when we think about the changing demographics of cities, when we think about mobility, we also have to find solutions. And I think, Mike, can you talk a little bit about that? Tell me, how are companies responding to these changing demographics?
Yeah. So I think I'll go back to some of Mike Bloomberg's comments this morning. We do believe autonomous will change the transportation industry. I would take exception to one thing he said. He said automakers are a little betwixt and between about whether they're going to pursue this aggressively.
He did say that.
I would tell you that's not the case for General Motors. We've got a very significant effort underway. We already have vehicles running around on public roads in both San Francisco and Scottsdale, and are spending a lot of time not just on the fundamental technology, but how to do it safely, because we are all interested in doing it safely, and then how to bring it to high volume production. And so I think the potential of autonomous vehicles will play a very significant role in transportation for cities going forward.
Well, so yesterday I had a chance to come and see some of your great goggles that I put on, and was able to be in that car driving around. Safety is always, I think, an issue that we all think about, and with autonomous vehicles. So talk a little bit about what you guys are doing on that.
So first, I want to also back up to the goggles that Megan referenced.
They're very cool.
You probably have seen, I hope you've seen, the white car outside in the lobby. That's actually our Bolt, an electric vehicle that we're putting into production at the end of the year. It'll go 238 miles on a single charge. But then that's also the platform that we're doing our autonomous vehicle research and development on. Because again, going back to the comments this morning, General Motors absolutely agrees the combination of autonomous with electrified vehicles makes a lot of sense for cities. And to your point, doing this safely, autonomous is not just taking a new piece of software and putting it on a vehicle that already exists. If you're going to do it safely, you have to go deep into the vehicle systems. You've got to redesign a number of them. Today, the human driver is the backup system for all sorts of mechanical systems on the car. So if your power steering system fails, you can still steer the vehicle. It just takes more effort. If your power brakes fail, you can still stop the vehicle. In a truly driverless vehicle, that's no longer the case. And so for us in the industry, designing an autonomous vehicle starts to feel more like aircraft design or spacecraft design, because we have to design a lot of redundancy into the systems to make sure that the car will operate even if there's a failure in one of the systems. And so you take the redundancy aspects, you layer on top cybersecurity concerns, and doing a truly safe driverless vehicle is a huge undertaking, but one that, as I say, we're well into.
So like a lot of mayors, I have a sense of urgency on solving all of these problems. I wake up every morning and I have a counter on my phone, and it counts down and it tells me that I have 1,013 days from today to figure out these problems. So looking at Nashville, looking at Nashville, when you think about the technology that you all have, what could we use right now? What could we be benefiting from of what you all have?
So I think I talked about the BEV, the Bolt. We're actually working with Lyft on how we can start deploying those battery electric vehicles in ride-sharing fleets today. And so I think we made an investment in Lyft. We work very actively with them on how to find better solutions with the driver-based network today, as well as working with them on the future of autonomous vehicles. So I think to your point, there are things that mayors can implement even today. There'll be more opportunities in the future, and I think autonomous vehicles will work both in cities that have some light rail infrastructure and cities that don't. I think there's a lot of flexibility with the concept.
So, you know, Lyft is a great partner. Lyft actually just opened an office in Nashville. It's the second largest office outside of San Francisco, so we're open for business if anybody wants to know that. And I think that when you think about those opportunities for what can happen right now, you know, we've just announced a $6 billion transit plan. And there's a lot of conversation around, well, there's all this new technology. How do we make sure that that transit plan is inclusive for the technology that's coming?
And I would say what I know of the plan you've announced is very impressive, so congratulations on getting that done. I was having this discussion actually this morning with some of the mayors that I met with, and I think we do need to start a dialogue, and it's part of the reason I and the rest of the General Motors team are here to try and describe to you and to other mayors what the technology will bring, what the opportunities are, and then work together on what do you want to accomplish with the technology from your standpoint, and figure out the best approach. As I say, we'll be producing autonomous vehicles at scale, so there should be plenty to go around.
Well, I think that's exciting. I know for us, the challenges that we have are that first mile and last mile connectivity, a lot of mobility issues, especially as we've got an aging population, but also kids getting around. And I think that there's an opportunity here for both of those.
Absolutely. And in fact, the customer research we do, you'll sometimes hear people reference the fact they expect the total fleet of vehicles in the U.S. to go down dramatically. I would make some of the arguments that you pointed to. When you think about autonomous vehicles, there are whole populations that today are underserved by transportation.
Absolutely.
The elderly, the handicapped, the young to a certain extent. And autonomous vehicles will be a way to bring transportation to those populations as well. So I think it'll have a very positive impact with those populations as well as the general population.
Well, and you've got that beautiful Bolt out
We
there
do.
that I was able to sit in yesterday as well. And so we talk about electronic vehicles and we think about fleet management. You know, one of the things we've heard a lot over the last couple of hours is all about climate change. And so talk about that for a second.
So it is why we're focused on developing this technology with our battery electric vehicles, because you know it's already been clear to us as we talk to people in the public sector, there are mayors all over the country and all over the world that are interested in using this technology to solve not just a whole variety of problems, not just how to get people here to there, but how to solve congestion, how do we address pollution. And so we think that's why the technologies make such a good combination. And I forgot to explain why you were wearing VR goggles the other day. I should say we've got a couple of sets of goggles out there at our stand. And with the goggles, you can go on an autonomous vehicle ride in our Bolt AV in downtown San Francisco. And because it's VR, you can look around, and it's the next best thing to being there as far as the autonomous experience.
But make sure you're sitting down, because it will, when you're trying to look down, it will make you freak out. But it's really a great experience, and it does give you that feeling of what it would be like to be in an autonomous car. And I think the more we can help folks understand it, the more comfortable we become with the technology.
And I think that's really important. It's one of the reasons why we focused on this idea of rolling out autonomous technology out in ride-sharing fleets. And it's got benefits to us as far as how we deploy the technology, but I think it'll give everyone the opportunity to experience the technology for a short ride in a very non-threatening way. It's much different to say I'm going to take my next Lyft ride in an autonomous vehicle as compared to, well, am I going to go out and buy my next vehicle that I personally own with autonomous technology? So when we talk to people about getting used to the technology and gaining confidence, we think this sort of usage in ride sharing is perfect for that.
Yeah, and we think you should do more pilots. And we think a pilot in Nashville would be a wonderful thing to do.
I've actually had quite a few mayors that thought their city was perfect
shocked.
for pilots.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know that it's exciting. There's lots of great things happening.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate your time, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate being
Thank
here.
you.